Plot summary of The Bet by Anton Chekhov. On a dark night in the fall, the banker paces in his study and thinks about a party he threw 15 years ago. In a flashback, he and some of his guests, many of whom are journalists and academics, talk about whether the death penalty or life in prison is more moral and humane. Many people, including the banker, say that life in prison is worse because it kills slowly instead of instantly. However, a young lawyer says that life in prison is better because it is better to live in some way than not at all. The banker says he should be locked up in a cell for 5 years, and the lawyer says he could do it for 15. In exchange for the lawyer's freedom, the rich banker bets 2 million rubles. The banker then nags the lawyer over dinner, telling him to back out while he still can because 3 or 4 years of the lawyer's life, the banker thinks he won't last any longer, is worth more than money that the banker can easily afford to lose. He also tells the lawyer that being locked up voluntarily will be much harder on the mind than being locked up forcibly. The lawyer is locked up in a garden wing of the banker's house the next night. He can't leave, talk to other people, or even hear their voices. He also can't get letters or newspapers. He can write letters, read books, play the piano, drink, and smoke. As time goes on, the lawyer goes through different stages of figuring out how to deal with what is basically solitary confinement. At first, he is very lonely and bored. He plays the piano, refuses to drink or smoke, and only reads books with light characters. Then, during his 2nd year in prison, he only reads old books. By the 5th year, he doesn't play music anymore and won't read. He writes letters, but he often tears them up and cries as he does so. He also drinks and smokes a lot. Next, he studies philosophy and languages with a hunger that makes him an expert in several. Then he reads the New Testament. In the last 2 years, he reads whatever he wants, from Shakespeare to books about the natural world. The banker is desperate the day before the lawyer is set free because his luck has completely turned around, and he is now so far in debt that he can't pay the lawyer the 2 million rubles. The banker thinks that killing the lawyer is the only way out. He sneaks out to the garden, where it's pouring rain, and figures out that the watchman isn't there because it's raining. He sneaks into the lawyer's room and finds him sleeping. The man is so thin and sick from being locked up that he looks much older than his 40 years. He looks like a half-dead thing. The banker reads the long note that the lawyer wrote and left on the table. In it, he says that he hates freedom, life, health, and everything else that your books call the blessings of the world. From all the books he has read, he has learned an amazing amount and feels like he has been all over the world, seen beautiful things, been with beautiful women, learned about nature's wonders, and become very smart. All of that doesn't matter to him, though, because it's only temporary. He doesn't understand people who, in his view, have traded heaven for earth. So, he says he doesn't want the 2 million rubles and will leave 5 hours early to lose the bet. The banker feels so bad about himself that he starts to cry and kisses the lawyer on the head as he sleeps. The watchman tells him the next morning that the lawyer got away. The banker goes to the garden wing to make sure that the person is leaving. He takes the note and locks it in his safe so that people won't talk about it needlessly.
About the author. Anton Chekhov was born in Taganrog, in southern Russia, to a big family. His parents were grocery store owners who were struggling, and while his mother was kind, his father was often mean. When Anton's family moved to Moscow in 1876 because his father was going to prison for not paying his bills, Anton stayed behind to finish school. In 1879, he moved to Moscow to finish his medical degree. He went on to work as a doctor for most of his writing career. In his free time, he wrote short stories and plays to pay for school and support his family, for whom he was now the only source of income. He won the Pushkin Prize when he was 28. This was a big step in his career. In his later years, he lived on a farm where he helped the local farmers and used what little energy he had to take care of his land. Even though he had been single for a long time, he married Olga Nipper in 1901. As a young man, he got tuberculosis, which was the cause of his death in 1904. When he died, he had written 16 plays, a novel, 5 novellas, a lot of letters, and more than 200 short stories. He is known as one of the best short story writers in history and is one of the authors whose work has been used the most.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.